Alright guys, four-wheeler doctor back again. We got a 2007 400EX over here. I'm going to be replacing this steering stem bearing in there. It's got all kind of wobble to it, so we're going to see about getting that fixed up. A couple seals and a bearing in there. Start off with, what I'm going to do is take this cotter pin out and this nut off the bottom and see what we can do to get this thing to the shaft to come up out of there so we can get the bearing out. Alright, let me get those off and I'll cut the camera back on. Alright guys, second thing you need to take off, I popped this cover off here. The bike's standing up on the end if it looks a little funny to you. So the two 12mm bolts that hold this little bushing on the steering stem up here, take both of those out and slide that plate up, and that'll allow your steering stem to come up. And I'm not sure if it's going to come up enough to get completely out. It may actually hit the tie rod ends, may actually hit. I'm trying to do everything I can to keep from taking the tie rods off, but it's looking like I'm going to have to take maybe at least one of them off. So I might try to do that and just pull one tie rod end off, and you can turn it a little bit right there, and that'll give us another 1/4 of an inch or so that we could pull out and maybe get that shaft to come out of that bearing. Alright, let me try that. Alright guys, I ended up just taking both of those tie rod ends loose. As you can see there on the plate, both of them gone. Just let them hang down. Actually didn't take the tires off this one. So now what you do is just slide this swing arm up, this steering stem up. There you go, it's all the way out of the bearing. And now we got to get that bearing out. There's actually a seal on the top and the bottom. We'll pop both of those seals out and see if it's got a clip in there or something that holds the bearing in, and then figure out how to get it out. Alright, cut the camera back on in a sec. Alright guys, I got the seals out at the top one there, and the bottom one. Just use my old trusty seal puller, wherever it is. This thing does have a little clip, a little snap ring thing here in the top that you got to get out. So I'm going to pull that out, and then I should be able to beat that bearing out of there. So let me get that clip out, and then I'll tap the bearing out. Alright guys, got the little clip out there. A little bit aggravating, but I got it out. So now I'm going to take a punch and tap this bearing out, and I'll get ready to press the new one back in. Alright guys, so I tapped that thing out. Like I said before, it goes out the top side, so you take a punch and tap it out the bottom. What I'm going to try to rig up to pull this thing back through here, I could probably get a hammer in there and tap it in and all that, but I really don't. It's probably going to be more aggravating than what I've got here. So I'm going to stick the bearing in here, at least get it started in the hole, and I'm going to use a threaded rod I just had here in the shop. I don't know what size that is, maybe I don't know, maybe 1/2 inch or something, and it'll fit right through a 1/2 inch drive socket. Got a 30mm socket. I checked it, and it'll fit down inside of the recess here. So I'm going to stick this threaded rod through here, and got a big washer on the back side so it doesn't fall through the hole, and just tighten this nut down until the bearing bottoms out into the holder there. Alright, I put a little bit of oil on it too to help pull it in. So let me get all this rigged up, and I may cut the camera back on while I'm tightening it down. Alright guys, this is what I ended up rigging up. Threaded rod, couple washers in there into the bottom hole, and then a 30mm socket on the top with another nut and ratchet wrench, and just press that bearing in there. Just press it in until it bottoms out. Then we can stick the snap ring back on and put the seals on. The two seals are different. There's a one with a bigger diameter and one with a smaller one. I'll figure out which way that goes here in just a second. Cut the camera back on and get ready. Well, get all this stuff out and get ready to put the seals in. Alright guys, these are two seals. One of them you can see a little bit bigger than the other one. The big one goes on the top side of the bearing after you put the clip in, and then the bottom one goes in the smaller one goes on the bottom side of the bearing. I'm gonna put a little bit of grease around the outside of these and just press them in with a socket. You can about push them in with your hand, and also put a little bit of grease around the inside of the lip there to try to protect it. Probably a good chance that this original bearing that was in this wasn't sealed. And you can see this aftermarket one we put in is sealed, so that should help it last a little longer. And these seals are these additional seals are just a little extra to help it last even that much longer. So let me get the seals in, then we'll slide the shaft through, stick the tie rod ends on, and we'll be done with this job. Cut the camera back on in a sec. Alright guys, one other thing I didn't cover in my disassembly video, which I just realized is not even in here, is on this bottom side here, there's supposed to be a sleeve that goes in here, seals up around the seal, and then acts as like a spacer. I think that was a lot of the problem with the thing because it wasn't even in there. So I ended up having to make one. Just a little piece of metal I found around here in the shop. Slide it down over your shaft here, and then put your nut on top of it, and that'll keep your pressure on your shaft like it should be. Like I say, that wasn't on there before. Also, one other thing, I'm gonna tighten that nut up, put a cotter pin in there. One other thing you want to do before you get the put this top part back together, the bushing and all that up here, put a little bit of grease around this bushing before you tighten up these bolts, and that's pretty much it. Stick the tie rod ends on, and then you've replaced the bearing on your steering stem for a 400 4-tracks. I think this is probably about the same thing for a 300 as well, and maybe a 450 for that matter. But I hope you like my video. Hit the subscribe button, like, comment. If you got any questions, I'll answer them. And stay tuned. I'll probably be working on something else here in the next few days.